The pilot next to you just slumped forward. You're at 9,000 feet and the airplane is still flying. You've never touched the controls. What do you do? Most people would be terrified. Is it an airline, a business jet, or a small plane? Let's walk through it realistically. There's a big difference between what we see in movies and what would actually happen inside a cockpit. First, we need to separate two scenarios: a commercial airliner and a small general aviation airplane. They are completely different environments. Most people picture an airliner at cruising altitude, something like a 737 at 35,000 feet. Modern airliners are heavily automated. Autopilots can control altitude, heading, speed, and even fly an instrument approach. In some cases, the airplane can land automatically under the right conditions. If you had help from air traffic control, they could guide you step by step. They could clear traffic, simplify instructions, and help set up a long, stable approach. There would still be a learning curve. You'd need to understand how to use the radio. You'd need to know which buttons to push. You'd need to manage speed and configure the airplane correctly. It wouldn't be simple, but the systems would be working with you. Now let's move to the more likely scenario for many people watching this. You're in a small airplane, something like a Cessna 172, a Piper Cherokee, a Cirrus, Beechcraft, or Mooney. No autoland, minimal automation, direct control inputs. Just you, the controls, and the runway somewhere up ahead. Flying straight and level is not the hardest part. With basic guidance, most people could hold altitude and heading reasonably well for a short period of time. Small airplanes are designed to be stable. The real challenge is the landing. Landing is all about managing energy, airspeed, descent rate, alignment, and timing. Those things have to come together within a small window. Under stress, your body changes how you process information. Your heart rate climbs, your vision narrows, your hands tense up. Instead of scanning airspeed, altitude, and the outside picture, you might lock onto the runway and stop looking at the instruments. That's when problems start. If the airspeed drops too low on final approach, the airplane can stall. At low altitude, there isn't much time to recover. If you descend too steeply and pull back aggressively, you risk ballooning or losing control. If you flare too high, you drop in. If you flare too late, you hit hard. Landing requires small corrections and patience. Most first-time pilots struggle with over-controlling. They move the yoke too much. They react to every little change. They chase the airplane instead of guiding it. In a calm environment with an instructor next to you, it's manageable. In an emergency, the pressure changes everything. Now let's talk about what would actually increase your odds. Air traffic control. If you can communicate, controllers will slow everything down. They will give you one instruction at a time. They'll clear other traffic and give you a long, straightened approach. That matters. It removes tight turns. It reduces workload. It gives you time to stabilize. The most important number at that moment would be airspeed. Every airplane has a safe approach speed. If you keep the airplane slightly above stall speed and avoid large controlled movements, the aircraft will continue flying. Airplanes are designed to glide too. They don't fall out of the sky unless they are mishandled. If you lined up early, keep the descent shallow and focused on holding a steady speed. You could bring the airplane to the runway. It might not be smooth. It might bounce. It might not be perfectly centered. But small general aviation airplanes are fairly forgiving if they arrive at the runway under control and at a safe speed. The most dangerous outcome comes from loss of control close to the ground. That's why pilots repeat one phrase constantly: fly the airplane. If you do have to fly, your biggest obstacle won't be the machine. It will be managing yourself. In aviation, composure directly affects outcome. In a modern airliner with automation and guidance, your chances are better than most people think. In a small airplane with no automation, it would demand focus, restraint, and steady control. How it's handled will determine the outcome.